Right, how you feeling?
Getting ready. Literally 48 hours ago, it was decided we needed to do this to provide another platform for informing consent across our schools, across South Africa, given the latest assault on 12 to 17-year-olds by the Department of Health. And so in very short notice, we invited a whole lot of people. And I personally have been battling at our school to get them to have a less biased and more balanced approach to providing information to parents so they can inform the proper kind of decision making, which was such an important thing. And I sort of hit a brick wall time and time again over the last couple of weeks, tried to give information, and I was basically, there's not an appetite to see the other side. Audi alterum partem, see the other side. One of the foundations of law and foundations of informed consent is something that's not available at the moment. So ourselves, we're activists. We wanted to basically, see the other side instead of just the teachers that our schools are relying upon, or the doctors that they're relying upon, the parents at our school, and one or two of the wives of the teachers, to give them information around what it is and what it isn't. So we decided to invite one or two doctors, and the response has been overwhelming, really amazing to see all the doctors, legal experts just saying, please, we would love a platform where we could be heard, we can have a voice, we can answer the questions of parents who are on the fence with the stuff, who are hesitant and making such a big decision. I would like to invite, I'm going to speak to someone, Barry Varkel, who's an attorney out of Seapoint, who has joined and started supporting Advocate Sabelo Sibanda on the cases, various cases around the amendment to the Health Act, as well as this WHO Health Organization. But Barry has very kindly volunteered his time to support Sabelo and helping with a lot of the research there. But Barry, maybe you just want to give your perspective on things from a slightly different lens, a legal lens, but also a lens of just a citizen trying to navigate the choppy waters and of all this weirdness at the moment. Thanks, Barry.
Thank you, Kevin. Good evening, everyone.
My name's Barry Varkel. I'm an attorney practicing in Cape Town. I'm going to keep it short because I don't want to belabor any points. Where I come into this is as follows. Straight away, I believed all the BS. Straight away, I listened to Ramaphosa and Fauci and Johnson and all the world leaders and thought, oh my God, this is something that's real. And then when they started rolling out the vaccines, and even before that, the way the country started getting locked down, I thought, no, this is a little bit much. I deal mainly litigation, and I dealt with real issues of businesses that were closed. Those businesses were suffering. I acted for landlords as well. Those landlords couldn't collect their rent because their tenants couldn't pay. And what actually kind of changed the course for me was my mother, who had a vaccination, or let's call it an injection. And the first one she got this autoimmune disease and herpes and skin rashes and everything. And the second one she landed up in hospital with a sort of a mini stroke. Now, my mother was perfectly healthy. She never took a disprin in her life. She never got sick. So in legalese, there's this thing called causation, that A leads to B, that leads to C. And what everyone's saying, or all the medical experts, is you can't prove causation, you can only show correlation. The reason you can't prove causation is because they've done no autopsies on any people that have been vaccinated. So you can never actually show that A links to B links to C. But what I want to speak to here is a bigger issue. I want to speak to the issue of social media and the media that's controlled by a very few people and a very few powerful people. I experienced firsthand on LinkedIn where I was deplatformed for saying certain things and speaking out. And eventually LinkedIn said to me, well, we'll let you back on as long as you comply with our community standards. And I said, forget it. You can take all the reviews that I've had from clients, from suppliers, from advocates. I'm not prepared to go back on and follow your rules, because if you're going to tell me that I can't speak out, then just forget about it. And what's going on now is this, it's all sort of an existential crisis where basically you've got two polarized worlds. You've got the world that believes in the vaccines, that's driven by powerful people, and everyone buys into that, and that's mainstream medicine, and all the doctors say go for it, it's safe and effective. And then you've got the other part, which is marginalized and discredited and called names and called conspiracy theorists, and never twain shall meet. So there's no converts anymore on either side, and no one's interested in listening to each other. But what I want to break it down is into a much simpler aspect, and this is where I think everyone's going wrong. There's no point in citing what certain studies say. There's no point in citing whether this is peer reviewed or that's peer reviewed. You can only deal with actual evidence, and my actual evidence is my mother. My actual evidence is clients and suppliers and colleagues who have been affected by the vaccine. If got a friend who's been vaccinated twice, and he's been in and out of hospital so many times. It's just unbelievable. So what I think we need to do is, if we're all going to get on the same page as such, we need to simplify this entire thing. So it's your choice whether or not to take a vaccine. If you don't want to take it, don't take it. But I think you also need to respect the people that have taken the vaccine. There's no point anymore in engaging in conversations and arguments about the efficacy of the vaccine. If they've taken it, they've made a conscious decision to take it, and they will live with the consequences. And likewise, you, as not having taken it, will live with the same consequences. I didn't take the vaccine. I haven't been sick for a long, long time now, and I don't believe in it. But at the end of the day, where I'm coming from is as follows. I've got a case that I'm going to get off the ground, which involves the WHO and South Africa being a signatory to the WHO. The WHO will soon declare monkeypox as a pandemic, and then they'll start throwing their whip around and trying to enforce a lockdown COVID situation internationally. You've got powerful countries, you've got the EU, you've got the UK, you've got the US, you've got Australia, you've got New Zealand, and they're all going to buy in. And now I also want to talk very quickly on a geopolitical basis. China and Russia, as much as they're marginalized, are in on the show as well. They're globalists too. So the bottom line is South Africa's also in on it. Ramaphosa is a globalist. What's going to happen in South Africa, just like we're seeing now, is that they're going to force vaccination, or at least try and convince kids to have vaccines. They're going to just go the same route as America. So I think what needs to happen here is a common sense approach, that parents must decide for their children, because kids can't decide on their own, and the legal limit for consent is 18. So I just really want to break this thing down into simple details. No consent. I'm not going to get that jab in my arm. I'm not taking it. I'll run my own risk. I spoke to Kevin early on, and I made a very simple metaphor here. A kid is sitting on the side of the road. There's trucks and cars running across the road in front of him. Is he going to sit on the side of the road and not cross because the chance of a car coming and hitting him is 0.2%? Or is he going to cross the road and run in and out of traffic, and his chance of getting killed is much, much higher? It's as simple as that. So I don't ever want to be stuck at home again. I don't ever want to be told that I can't go to court, that I can't go out, that I can't go to the shops, that I can't exercise, that I can't do what I want. My biggest problem in life is authority. That's why I've always worked for myself. So I'm on the path here with Kevin. I'm on the path here with Sabella. Sabella and I are busy with these cases, but we need to simplify this thing. Everyone has seen a friend, a colleague, a family member who's been injured. There's your evidence. We don't need studies. We don't need anything. But we need to stop using the language of the conspiracy theorists, let's call them that, because you can use the same language, and eventually if you beat the same drum endlessly, no one's going to listen anymore. So try and speak in your own vernacular. Try and say it in your own way. We're in South Africa. We've got a population here who's not interested in conventional medicine. So let's get involved with those people, local people that are working class people that will not take this mutti. And that's the end of the story. We're not in Europe, we're not in America, we're not in Australia, not in New Zealand. So I think we've got a lot of potentiality here where we get with the average working class person who says, forget about it. I'm just not interested. Thank you very much.
Barry, thank you so much, and so many very, very profound points that you've made there. I'm also going to go back to Dr. Herman Edeling earlier, because what you touch on, Barry, in terms of that analogy of crossing the road, that is all around risk benefit analysis. And I know there's a huge amount of work that's been done by Dr. Idling and his team on that to actually work out what the risks are and what the alternatives are by taking a vaccine and whether that all actually adds up.